The idea being is when I engage with you, when I choose, because my most valuable asset is my own time. It's not what I sell. It's not my customer list. It's my time. So I want to spend the most amount of time with the fewest amount of prospects, because here's what happens.
Another episode of Sales Intersection, the intersection of money and meaning. Listeners, fans, or people that watch my podcast for whatever reason and don't like my podcast, whatever it may be, another episode of Sales Intersection, the intersection of money and meaning. Today, my guest is Mark Hunter. Very humbled to have him on my show. I follow his feed, and I consider him I don't know him person to person, but I consider him a sales mentor. Um, and so we will get into the nitty gritty, but uh, I think you're gonna be amused and stimulated by today's show. So without further ado, sales intersection is all about the intersection of sales and meaning, um, bringing meaning, impact, and fulfillment to sales. So at the end of the day, you can bring your color into the sales world, um, because right now it's sales attracts the most colorful characters out there, but we're evaluated by the most binary, um, the binary standard that exists, quota, black and white. So you go home feeling bad about yourself if you don't hit quota, and you could be a psychopath and hit quota if you continually hit quota. So that's kind of, and I work with clients, individuals, groups, small companies to leverage their color, assess their color, and to swing it out of the park, and not just go to President's Club, but to be president. So, anyways, that's a little preface before we go. First, I want to say welcome, Mark. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Hey, thank you for having me. Looking forward to our conversation.
So, Mark, you know, it can be pretty boring, the about me little intro, right? But you're very familiar with doing it on LinkedIn or all the social media facets. Um, what would you Are there any gaps between what you put there and what you would say, let's say at a family or friend barbecue? What's your about me?
Well, what a lot of people are shocked is that I did not want to be in sales. Sales was not what I wanted to be. I talk about it in my book, uh, A Mind for Sales, but like so many people, sales wasn't what I want. I really wanted to be a disc jockey. That was my dream. That was my dream job. Um, Something just didn't work out along the way. So I guess if there's a
We're
gap,
talking like 10 years old, disc jockey?
no, this was when I was in college. I mean, when I was
Oh,
in
okay.
college, I was a disc jockey and loved it. And you can't tell your parents that's where your tuition money is going. So I thought, well, I'll get an easy degree. I'll get a degree in marketing because I can do voiceover work, I can do radio stuff, et cetera, et cetera. And it wasn't until I got too many speeding tickets that I wound up in sales. Reason was the speeding tickets caused my insurance to go through the roof. I couldn't afford car insurance. So I had to get a job that supplied me with a car. That's how I wound up in sales. Go
Mm-hmm.
figure. So yeah, that's the gap that I don't think too many people realize.
That's really interesting. Um, so next question is, you. you're I don't know, world or nationally renowned as a sales expert guru. Why do you think that is? What is the unique value proposition you bring to the table?
Because I've just been at it a long time. No, I think what it comes down to is really three things. It comes down to hustle. I've been doing this for 20 years. You keep cranking it. I keep giving content to people. I mean, I put content out on social media. I put content out on YouTube. I do shows like yours. I write books. I continue to put content out there, and it resonates. And it resonates with people for a couple of reasons. One, it's authentic. It's me. People sit there and say you're not pretentious. You are just you, and that's what I really strive for, because that's number two. I think I'm authentic and I'm transparent, and that's what people really value, especially in today's world. And the third piece is the content, the ideas. These are not, hey, I made the upper half of my class possible in college. Okay. I'm not, I don't have a PhD. So the content I share, the concepts I share, they're fundamental. They're basic. I mean, they're not fundamental. They're not, well, yeah, they are basic, because it's stuff that you could, oh, I can do that. I can jump on that, because I talk a lot about the mindset. It's amazing. You can have somebody who's incredibly brilliant and they can't sell at all. Give me somebody with a great personality, and man, they'll light the scoreboard up. That's what I really hone in on.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big believer in not the next sales methodology book that is how to sell post COVID. It's psychology, and the personality. You got to learn the product, of course, and be kind of like a hybrid sales expert, sales engineer. But let me ask you this, though. I don't want to, not insulting or anything, because I'm no spring chicken either. But you're an older guy. Um, do you is it a goal of yours to appeal to the younger generations?
Wow, great question. No, I don't know. I want to appeal to people who want to get better in sales. And I don't care if they're 10 years old, just getting a Kool-Aid stand, or 80 years old and selling AARP, cards. I don't care. I just want to help people who are serious about getting better in sales. Um, Makes no difference. I tell you what, some of the most learnable, boy, there's a made up word.
Coachable.
Salespeople, yeah, yeah, well, yeah, are the new salespeople who are 20, 22, 24 years of age. And some of the least coachable people are the salespeople who are north of 50, north of 60, because, oh, I know it all. This is how it is. And I go, you are such a loser. I mean, I don't care how old you are or how young you are. You have to be coachable. You have to be willing to learn. That was a huge mistake I made when I got out of college and I got into sales. Um, I thought I could figure this thing out, and that's why I got fired from my first two sales jobs, because I was not coachable. I was arrogant as can be, and I thought I could figure this out. Now, yeah, I was putting big numbers up on the board, but believe me, I was creating train wrecks. Man, I was creating train wrecks. I mean,
Well,
I,
I've been
I
known
would,
as arrogant as me, but go ahead.
yeah, I mean, I was arrogant. I mean, I was arrogant, and it wasn't so much arrogant as I was just zeroed in, and don't tell me how to do this. This is how it's done. And my view of if you're a customer, I have one objective. I want to get your money and run. I treated customers as if they were bowling pins. My objective was to knock them down as rapidly as possible and move on to the next frame.
That brings up a great kind of segue here. Is it's almost like the old white bald guys in DC making decisions for the 18-year-olds on the front lines in Afghanistan, and there's such a disconnect. If you ask the same questions to to all of them, you get completely different answers. in the sales world, if you did the same thing, ask, you have 35 conversations, C-level down to BDRs, those in the front lines, same questions, completely different answers. What do you think the meat of that is? I mean,
Well, I think the meat of it is because we all see the world differently. I mean, I was speaking to a group this morning, group of about 65 people, live in person, kind of amazing, kind of shocking, and range in age from about, maybe 25 to probably 60. And I asked them what their definition of sales was. Now, we didn't have time to go around the room, but I mean, it very obvious that everybody had a different definition of sales. And, this is the challenge because we all see things through our lens. We all, this is one of the neat things I get to do is I get to travel all over the world. Even in a COVID environment, this next week, I'm off to Spain. And one of the things I love about international travel is you see things in different lenses and you meet people who see things in different lenses. And this helps us in sales so much because we have to be able to realize that our customers are not seeing things the way we're seeing. That's why we got to shut up and listen. We just
empathy,
got, yes. And COVID blew the doors off that. I mean, COVID just, changed everything dramatically because everything is so exposed. Everything's exposed. So authenticity and transparency more important than ever.
So I guess more specifically, I'm not going to name names here, but I had a company where I was working where I talked to the C-levels and they said, this is how you should be selling the product, Eric, because it was a comprehensive, transformational, I'm going to use a lot of, just cliche words here.
Yeah.
But and then I'd ask the BDRs and the junior AEs, and they say, no, you can't. First of all, you get on the phone with them. They don't know you. They don't know your company. They don't want to hear all the things you do. So you have to just get in with a widget that's specific to them and then plant the seed and then grow. Can you give me an example of something like that in sales where there's a disconnect?
Yeah, I was talking to a company that they thought they wanted to hire me, and I actually turned them down. I won't say the company; it wasn't in the U.S. And this company believed that you just have to do this specific thing 10,000 times, and you'll get results. And in the back of my head, I said, "Wait a minute! If I beat my head against a wall 10,000 times." The wall's not coming down, but I'm sure going to have a sore head. And they were complaining that their SDRs and their BDRs weren't achieving results. And I go, well, hello. Yeah. Because this organization and this senior management team wanted me to come in and basically preach to the SDRs and the BDRs that it's just repetition. Okay. Repetition can be good because, like prospecting is a muscle. You got to do it daily. Sales, these are muscle, but you got to know the routine you're doing. And this is the disconnect. This is what breaks down in so many organizations because the process that has been put together is so out of context to what's actually happening out there on the street. I mean, I just saw this the other day in some sales materials that were sent to me. And this company was rolling out this brand new product and they were excited about it. And they send me the marketing materials and the sales collateral stuff. And these are all the PDF files and everything that the SDRs and the BDRs are to be sharing. And it was all about them. It was all about them, how great they are. And I just wanted to throw up. And their initial comment, because I asked them, I said, how's it going for you? And they said, well, we're not really getting the traction we thought. And I go, no joke. Yeah, I'm so shocked because here's the whole thing. Nobody really cares about the product or the service you sell. They They don't care. What they care about is their problems. So I tell salespeople, you got to come in and you got to find out what is their problem. What's the outcome that you can help them with? Then you lay on the product and the service. But you can't just walk in and boom, drop the product on the table and say, hey, this is what I'm selling you. Hey, doesn't work. It doesn't work in today's world.
So let me ask you this. Let's say that you are an AE right now, Mark Hunter, and you had to prospect. How would you go about doing that cold email, cold connect? And second, when was the last time you were impressed and you actually took a meeting?
Well, hey, yeah, I've taken meetings, not very often because I admit I don't really pay too much attention to the phone. It goes to voicemail, which brings up another issue. But hey, if we get time, we'll dig into that one. Here's the thing. I want you to engage me in a question that's relevant to me. I want you to don't sit there and say, hi, Mark. Well, we've just won 6 awards and we've come out with this. I don't care. Don't put that in an email.
What about video? Video's big these days.
Video's big, but don't sit there and tell me about how wonderful you are. Ask me a question. Hey, Mark, what's happening? For instance, okay, I deal with sales. A question that's going to stop me right now is, hey, Mark, what are you seeing right now in this Delta, charged COVID world is changing with regards to sales? That's a question that somebody asked me that I'm going to have an opinion, because that's what people want to share their opinion. You want to ask a question that gets people sharing their opinion. That's how you engage them. And then you get the conversation going.
Yeah.
Too many times we just roll out with this, hi, we got this wonderful product and can I set up a demo for you? Let me tell you something. Demos suck. Okay. Okay. I'm getting blunt here. Demos suck because the typical demo is nothing more than a YouTube video. Okay. This is so bad. The value is in the discovery call. That's where I uncover the pain. That's where I uncover the outcome. That's where I uncover the issues. The demo.
And specifically, yeah. What do you do differently?
Well, here's the whole thing. Too many BDRs or SDRs, however you want to classify them, are compensated just by getting the demo set up. I go, big mistake, because this is why there's such a high ghosting percentage of people who fail to show up for demos. What I want to do is I want to have a discovery. Tell me a little bit about your business. Tell me about what are the hey, let's have a conversation about your business, the challenges you're facing, the outcomes. Here's my mark of a good salesperson. My mark of a good salesperson is when I can ask you, Eric, a question that you don't have an answer to and I don't have an answer to. Now stop and think about that. Most salespeople are afraid to ask questions that they don't have the answer to because they want to look brilliant, but they want the question to be that the customer can't answer, so they can answer and they look. No, I want to ask questions that both you and me can't answer. What does that do? That creates a conversation. That is how we uncover the real value, the real outcome, the real need that the customer is looking for.
I see. Yeah. So you're considered, one of the, elite influencers out there in the sales expert world. What is most controversial about you that your cohorts may think, I just don't agree with Mark on that?
Well, one of the things that I challenge back on is sales as a numbers game. People say, well, sales is a numbers game, but you got to make 1,000 calls. Oh, shut up. Go stick it. I don't care about making 1,000 calls. My whole belief around sales is, yeah, sales is a numbers game. I get it, but here's the whole thing. It's a quality game. I want you and I want every person listening to spend more time with fewer prospects. Yeah, that's what I just said. More time with fewer prospects. I want you to have fewer prospects because what I want you to do is I want you to zero. Too many people are chasing nothing more than leads, names. See, we go from names to leads to suspects to prospects. And, too many people just have a bunch of names in their pipeline. Oh, they attended this webinar. Who gives a rip? It just means they were bored. Okay. Oh, they downloaded this PDF file. They downloaded this ebook. So what? Who cares? Yeah, that may mean they're interested, but you know what? I got to go through a qualifying process. I got to go through a gated process to determine whether or not they're worth me spending time with. Because
So
I want to, yeah.
independent of you and your strengths, what tools do you think are necessary? You don't have to name names, but
Yeah.
what?
Well, yeah. I mean, here's the whole thing. There are so many tools put out because let's not kid ourselves. Venture capital, private equity is cheap. And everybody's looking for the next Facebook. Everybody's looking to fund the next Uber. Everybody's looking. So anybody can get funding to create anything. Okay. I'm calling it the way I see it. But there are too many apps and hacks that are created for problems that don't exist. Okay. So here's the whole thing. I don't think it's not your tech stack that's going to make you successful. It's what you're going to do to your tech stack. My whole belief is this. I want to have a process, and I was sharing this just, for instance, okay, somebody downloads an ebook. Great, terrific. I'm going to do a couple bounce backs to see if I can't engage you in another conversation. These are going to be automated bounce backs, and they're going to engage you. And I'm looking for your opinion. I'm looking for engagement. I'll give you an example. Company I was working with, one of the qualifiers that they had, and this is so beautiful, was the number of pages that the person had looked like. This was actually a B2C company. This is a B2C company. The number of pages on their website that the customer looked at. And they knew once the customer looked at about 30 pages on their website, they were ready to buy. That's who they spent their time on. That's when it says, okay, now it makes sense for the human being to be dialed in on you. You see, what I want to do is I want to have a gated process, and a lot of tools out there can help you with it. And I'm not going to bother to run through. But the idea being is when I engage with you, when I choose, because my most valuable asset is my own time. It's not what I sell. It's not my customer list. It's my time. So I want to spend the most amount of time with the fewest amount of prospects, because here's what happens. When I spend it with fewer prospects, I'm able to get to know you better. I get to understand your needs better. I'm actually able to close the sale faster. I actually speed the process up. That's the beautiful thing. Too many times I see too many sales. I was working with a company recently. They had 16 steps in their sales process. 16 steps. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Forget it. I don't want 16 steps. And the problem was it was so long process. One of the measurements that I look for is what can I be doing to shorten my sales cycle? What's the problem? What are the things I can be doing to shorten the sales cycle that once you become qualified, I close you faster? Now you may spend a long time.
Frequency in correspondence is probably the biggest indicator of a hot deal, right? If you're going back day to day, every other day, you don't hear it for a week and a half, that's a bad sign.
Right. And what are they saying back to you? How are they responding? This is the challenge. My whole goal is this. And this is where so many salespeople lose business. And I don't care where you are in the sales cycle. They don't follow up enough. They really don't follow up enough. And there's some bad stuff being taught out there. I love these automated emails that say, I'm just checking in. Well, excuse me, I'm not a hotel. You send me an email that says, I'm just checking in. I'm going to tell you, your room's not ready. Check back in 50 years. Or the other one says, I just wanted to bounce this to the top of your email. Give me a break. That is so stupid. Or this one, well, hey, this is our Dear John letter, Dear Sally letter. And that's stupid. You may get a response, but you won't get a customer. This is the big fallacy. Some of these cute, humorous email responses. Okay. They may get a response, but they're not going to create a customer. That's all I care about.
A little tip I use. I put an emoji in my my title on LinkedIn. So if I see that emoji in an email, delete, because that's automated.
Then it's automated. Right. There you go. Right. See, what has happened is the sales profession has been denigrated because of all the automation tools. I mean, I mean, hey, if I can have success sending out 100 emails, think of what success I can have if I send out 1,000. I don't have time to call people. Let me send out another 1,000 emails. Oh, you know what? I'm really busy. Let me send out another 1,000. And it's like, oh, please, people, you're killing me. I mean, the, and we wonder why there's such a low response rate. Hello, hello.
I'll go 3 to 5 emails and calls a day versus 50 and 100, and I'll get a better conversion rate.
Oh, without a doubt. Because again, it also comes back to your ICP. This is something I'm on a bandwagon. ICP, your ideal customer profile. And you got to know who is your sweet spot. Who is your sweet spot? And drill down tight. You know, one of the things that COVID has taught us is that we truly are a global marketplace. I mean, you know, your competitors in Shanghai, your competitors in Auckland, New Zealand, your competitor is in London. And we have to understand that as a result, we have to get extremely tight with the outcome we create, extremely tight with our messaging, because we're only going to be successful when we're extremely tight. And oh, by the way, because we're playing in a global marketplace, there's plenty of people out there. One of the things that I can't stand is the salesperson is, oh, squirrel, squirrel. Let me go chase that person. Let me go chase that person. No, marketing teams, you got to get tight. You got to get specific. Hone in as to who your tight market is. That's where you'll want to put all of your focus on.
My ICP strategy is identify your ICP. Once you have it, get an intimate group together, kind of like a market research group. Then give them the product, so it's product proven. And then if it does work down the line, you'll give them a big discount, and go from those 3 steps.
Mm-hmm.
But it still comes down to, how do you identify your ICP, right?
Well, yeah, and the easiest way to identify your ICP is look at who your existing customers are. You know, who's
if you're starting out and you have
but okay, then what you do is you go, what's the outcome I create? Who is this going to benefit? Not who am I going to sell to? Who is this going to benefit? Who is this going to benefit? And you got to go, and you're going to have to go through some data. You're going to have to go through some market research. Yeah, I get it. But what you're going to do is you're going to begin to isolate, because what I'm looking for who is going to benefit the most. What is going to be the outcome they create? And I may come up with 2 or 3 different outcomes. Great. That's where I'm going to focus all of my marketing. Because then once I know the outcome, then I can begin to come back upstream. I begin to identify, okay, who are the types of people, types of companies, whatever, that are going to be looking for that outcome? What industries are they in? Where do they operate, et cetera, et cetera. And then I want to keep drilling that down tighter and tighter and tighter.
How many employees do you have?
What?
How many employees do you have?
5.
Oh, okay. We're coming down on time, so I'm going to do rapid fire.
Yeah.
Last 3 questions, and then say our goodbyes. Mentors. Right now, if you have a problem, is there a person or people that you call and you can count on them to answer the phone and say, hey, Mark, this is how I would deal with it? Or if not, historically, who comes to mind?
No, I have a mastermind group of 3 other people, and we are continually texting back and forth, calling each other, challenging each other's, pushing each other. They are 3 other people who are leaders in the industry in their respective space, and we collaborate a lot together. So that's where I really go for my talent. I'm also been blessed because I've been able to share the stage with so many prominent people that I do have a lot of very strong relationships, and I can pick up the phone. I can call people, but I really rely on my mastermind group.
That's great. Maybe you can add me to the mastermind group. Number 2, at 10 years old, what would the Mark Hunter say when asked, what do you want to be when you grow up?
I probably wanted to be a truck driver or a fireman or a cop or something like that.
I wanted to be a truck driver.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that'd be cool to be a truck driver. I mean, I thought that'd be, cool. Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess your dreams changed, but that's
Yep.
interesting. And last thing, what and I know this is the kind of flow of this whole podcast isn't exactly seamless and together. But that's just part of that's part of my podcast, is it's kind of ADD. Um, Lastly, what are a couple things that you do outside of your work that one up your game?
Well, one of the things that I do is I run. I get up at 4:30 in the morning, and by 4:40, I am working out with weights, and by 5 a.m., I am outside running, and that's a key part of what I do. I also read a tremendous amount, and the final thing is I spend a lot of time with my wife. I mean, I've been very blessed. I've been married for 41 years,
Way to go,
and
man.
I love her dearly.
You read or you do audiobooks?
I read. I don't do many audiobooks. And I just have found that I can read books fast. I'm a very fast reader. I mean, I'll read a book. I'll read a book in a sitting. Uh, I read at least a book a week, if not two books a week.
What's the best book that you've read in the
Um,
recent years?
the book that I'm really recommending right now is Atomic Goals. Came out about a year ago now, but that book
I'm
is
gonna write that down.
really a game changer, and I really like Atomic Goals. Um,
The only other guest that I've had on the show that wakes up earlier than you is, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Larry Levine.
I know Larry. I talk with Larry. I talk with Larry a lot. Yeah, he gets up about 3:30 in the morning, and
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah,
It's not for me.
yeah.
Um,
No, I have found I get I mean, because by 6 o'clock in the morning, I have got my workout in. I've showered. I've had my quiet time, and I'm off and running. And I just love it. It's great. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, it sets the tone for your day, right?
yeah, really does.
So Mark, thank you for being here. Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to tell my audience? A website to go to? A book?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the big thing is the website, thesaleshunter.com. People ask me, what was your name before you changed it? No, that's been my name since birth. So it works out really well. Thesaleshunter.com. And of course, my book, A Mind for Sales, it's the newest, it's been out now about a year and a half, and it's doing incredibly well and really is geared for this era that we're in right now. Because I tell you what, if your mindset's not right, sorry, cowboys, sorry, cowgirls, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Well, I thank you for your time, because it seems like you're pretty militant on your time schedule. So I'm glad things went smoothly. Hopefully, it was a valuable use of your time,
Yep.
and and hope to reconnect soon.
You got it. Appreciate it, man. Thanks so much.
Yeah.